All right, it is October. I am here with Sunny Hostin. Hello, Sunny.
Hi, Brian.
This was a big show today.
It was.
Another in a series of big view shows we've had. We had Democratic New York mayoral candidate, the front runner, as you said today, Zoran Mamdani. He's here with us. He was here with us today. What were your takeaways from this really interesting interview?
Look, I think he's going to be the next mayor of New York. I mean, you know, when he came out, you could feel the enthusiasm.
You and I have talked about
audience.
that. That happens occasionally on the show where there's a moment.
It was like, you know.
It doesn't always translate to a win.
It doesn't always happen, that feeling. But when they come out and particular politicians come out, you can sense that a political star has arrived.
Yeah.
And that is what I felt. And what's interesting to me in terms of all the press that he's getting, they're treating him like he's this like weird, you know, interloper New Yorker, like a carpetbagger. This is a guy who grew up in New York, went to Bronx Science, which is like one of the best public high schools. His father is a professor at Columbia. He went to Bank Street, which is a school that in New York that my mom taught at. I mean, he is the quintessential native New Yorker. And I think he just did a really great job answering tough questions. We were not unfair to him, but we asked him very tough questions, and I thought he handled them brilliantly.
I mean, he was as poised as any politician we've ever had on the show.
And he's
and he's 33 years old. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think he handled himself very, very well. Hopefully, Governor Cuomo will be on soon, and we'll get the same tough but fair treatment.
I know, you know, the Cuomo family, and I know Andrew. I know the governor. I think he should come on the show, and I want to ask him the tough questions.
Of course, which we always do.
Yeah.
But what do you think? What effect do you think this race is gonna have nationally? Because that's the big thing. They've definitely. You know, it's funny because a lot of times in the Hot Topics room, we'll be interested in something going on in New York, and someone will quote Barbara Walters saying, is it Oklahoma? Wisconsin feel about this? Why do I care? And this New York race has taken on a much larger focus in politics.
Well, that's because the president of the United States is tweeting about it. He's you know, on Truth Social. He's talking about it. The GOP is talking about it. And so I think the Republican Party is making him an even bigger star. And what they're trying to do is really make him the face of democratic socialism, which they want, you know, sort of like the Bernie Sanders. They want to make that into
AOC. This is a thing they've done before.
They want to make that a dirty word. But if you really look at the roots of democratic socialism, and I thought he did a masterful job by sort of calling back MLK Jr.'s words, you know, sort of the great civil rights activist and icon, by saying it's basically a shared humanity. They have a vision of equality for everyone. Now, to come out against that kind of vision, who would do that? I mean, that's political suicide, to say actually there should be haves and have-nots. And so I think that he, while the Republican Party is trying to make him this sort of socialist boogeyman, I think he's done a really good job for perhaps showing Democrats what people want. They do want lower prices. They do want equality. They want to feel good about the city that they live in. They want to feel welcome. They don't want to be afraid. And he's plugged into that. And especially, he's plugged into to young people. I knew nothing about him. I only knew about the Cuomos, right? And both of my children sent me information about Zohran Mamdani. And I was surprised that they were that knowledgeable, that informed, and they said that his social media, you know, team is absolutely incredible, and that he's talking about real issues. And they felt that he could take on Trump, which is what you want the New York mayor to be able to do, because you don't.
What you need the New York mayor to be able to do.
You need the New York. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest city in our country, right?
Yeah, and his hometown, so he's very interested in it.
Yes, he is.
Now, today he had, as you mentioned, we asked some tough questions. Maybe nothing tougher than his view about his past comments about the NYPD and his views on it. And he admitted that he was young and his opinions have changed over time, which Whoopi gave him a lot of credit for.
Yes.
It is something you don't usually hear politicians do.
You never hear it. They say something and they sort of walk around it, and sometimes walk it back, but they never say, you know what, I'm 33 years old, or, this happened 5 years ago, and I've grown and I've changed. And it was like a breath of fresh air. And I think that's why Whoopi sort of was astonished by it, in a sense, because we have had, I don't even know how many politicians on this show, and I don't think I've ever heard someone say, well, there's room for growth, and I've grown and I've changed.
Yeah.
So that in and of itself makes him a different type of candidate.
And as someone who's spent a very long time now on The View, giving your opinion every day, that does happen. You've talked about that.
I've talked about having growth and changing. I'm 10 years older. I've changed my opinions because I've listened to different opinions, and I'm open to that. And I think that is sort of that's an example of being intellectually curious.
Yeah.
And I found him to be very intellectually curious. And that's what you need. He seems to be listening to his constituents, potential voters. He is an assemblyman. And also, he knew the technicalities of things.
He did.
And I thought that was extremely interesting.
Right. Like when Joy just threw out about, like, well, how does the mayor control the rent? And he explained it succinctly, quickly, and
rent stabilization. And I knew the answer to that.
Right.
But I was surprised that he was able to explain it.
Yeah.
And as a prosecutor, we're always told during closing arguments, explain it like you would explain it to a 12-year-old. Yeah. He explained rent stabilization laws in New York, which are actually quite complex, to a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
It was pretty good politicking.
I was going to say, whether regardless of your political viewpoints, I think you have to say he's an excellent politician.
He is.
So it's interesting. We'll see what happens and what's next. There's a big story I wanted to ask you about happening in the WNBA right now. Minnesota Lynx star, I think I might mispronounce the name, Nafisa Collier, is that right? Is criticizing the WNBA commissioner after she's questioned the commissioner about why younger players like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Beckers make such low salaries, even though they make so much revenue for the league. The commissioner responded by saying Caitlin should be grateful she makes $60 million off the court, because without the platform the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything.
Yeah.
This has angered a lot of WNBA fans, which you are one of, I know.
Yeah.
What do you make of it?
Would she ever say that to an NBA player? Adam Silver, would he ever say that to an NBA player? I just think that's absurd. I mean, you have people like Steph Curry, you have people like Michael Jordan, you have people like Kobe Bryant who made gazillions of dollars on shoes, but they also got paid for their work on the court. Let's be clear, being a part of the WNBA as a player, you are an athlete. That is a job, and it is a full-time job, and it is a hard job.
Now, I want to specify, you have a relationship with the WNBA.
Okay, I am on the WNBA Board of Advocates.
Yes.
So I will say that. So I do know the ins and outs of it, so I sort of know how the sausage is made. And for the commissioner to say something like that, it's just completely untoward. It's just, it's so tone deaf, because we have had to fight for the things that the NBA has gotten forever, and the reasoning always given was, well, the WNBA doesn't bring enough money. WNBA doesn't bring enough eyes. Well, that has changed. Now you have record viewership, you have record attendance because of the Caitlin Clarks and the Angel Reeses and other big name players, and they should be paid accordingly. Now, people will say, okay, well, Caitlin Clark makes $385,000 a year. That is a lot of money. Yes, it is a lot of money, but not in comparison to the work that she's doing, and not in comparison to what she's generating, and definitely not in comparison to male basketball players. I remember, when I first got on the Board of Advocates, one of the big asks, and it was a fight over it. The athletes didn't want to share hotel rooms. Okay, a hotel room. Sometimes they were loading like 3 of them.
Right.
And these women are like 6'5", some of them. They also wanted to not fly coach. Imagine Brittany Griner at 7 feet flying coach in row 43 in a middle seat.
Yeah.
It was not only inappropriate, it was insulting to their talent and to the work that they had put in. And so that commissioner really needs to apologize, I think, publicly, and needs a real attitude shift.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's interesting because I understand the people that say this new crop of stars There was a WNBA before them that needs to be respected,
Yes.
and it was
They stand on the shoulders of
Absolutely.
of the greats. I
But-
mean, Swoops, a lot
yeah,
of people.
but you can't disconnect what the change has been, the revolution that's been in the fan
Yes.
base in the last couple of years.
Yes, I mean, anybody who hasn't seen a WNBA game live needs to go. I mean, the athleticism
Oh, it's
that
great.
you see, it is unbelievable. I mean, you will see women dunking.
Right, and you see it on
Regulation size hoop.
If you're watching
okay?
ESPN, they're cutting away from the playoffs, baseball playoffs, to
Yes,
show
they
WNBA
are
now
that
because
good.
and
They are
and the
that
fans
talented.
are interested. The fan base is real and very, very devoted.
They are very, very talented athletes.
Yeah. We just want to add that Cathy Engelbert, the commissioner of the WNBA, issued a public response saying, "I have the utmost respect for Nafisa Collier and for all the players in the WNBA. My focus remains on ensuring a bright future for the players and the WNBA, including collaborating on how we continue to elevate the game. I am disheartened by how Nafisa characterized our conversations and league leadership, but even when our perspectives differ, my commitment to the players and to this work will not waver." Are you moved by that?
No.
All right, let's move to some entertainment news. There was a huge celebrity couple breakup this week.
I know.
Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban. This was kind of shocking. They were married for 19 years. We're going to dive fully into this on the Weekend View.
Yeah.
But as a romantic, does this upset you? As a romantic and someone who's married almost the same amount of time, or longer.
27.
27,
Yeah,
wow.
27 years. I know it sounds crazy. It kind of upset me. I just, it sounds crazy, but, I've met both of them. And he is lovely and she is lovely. And when you see them together, I thought that I saw something real.
I think
there.
I thought so too. Yeah.
Yeah. And we all remember Nicole being married to Tom Cruise and
Right.
the whole Scientology of it all, and how I guess she didn't have the best relationship because of the breakup with her adopted children. And I think we were all rooting for her happiness.
Yes.
And she's got 2 children with Keith Urban, so 4 kids in total. And I just thinking about that and the reporting that she wanted to save the marriage, as a woman who's been married and has 2 kids and has raised my kids like with my husband in this little family unit. I don't know why I'm so
No, it moves you.
but I'm moved by it.
Yeah.
I just hope that she's not hurting
One of my favorite.
so much.
Me too. One of my favorite talk show stories, because, especially I used to work at David
Yeah,
Letterman, and
yeah.
in late night especially, it's different than here. But you'd really do a lengthy pre-interview and kind of like work out things. And I remember Nicole Kidman was on Letterman after the breakup with Tom Cruise.
Oh,
And of course, it was all anyone wanted to talk about it, and I don't think she wanted to talk about it. But I think
Yeah.
they agreed to ask one question and get one answer.
Yes.
And I don't know if it was the producer who came up with it or Nicole who came up with it, but she had the best line ever. And he said, everyone's obsessed with this. What can you say about this with your breakup with Tom Cruise? And she said, well, I can wear heels now.
That's right, because she's like a gazelle.
Oh my gosh.
She's so tall and
Tom,
gorgeous.
not so much. But
Wow.
that was always my favorite.
That's a good one.
It's a good line. But yeah, as someone, it's funny because I've been married 20 years. I'm very happy. But there is also a part of me that does wonder, 20 years in, like, I feel like I've already, I'm all in. I'm pot committed, so to speak. Like, really, you're
you're
going to...
going to start again with, because
Yeah.
everybody has baggage.
Sure.
That's the thing.
Right.
Like, everyone has baggage. So now what? You're going to be either alone, which is fine because I
Yeah.
like my own company. But now I got to hook up with somebody and then like pick up their baggage.
Seems like a lot of work.
And it's a lot of work. And then their families, there's
Yeah.
always the crazy, kooky aunt, cousin, or uncle,
Right.
brother, sister. Now I got to deal with
And
that
when you're
too.
a celebrity, it's going to be a big news story on top of
it's
everything.
not worth
So there
it.
must be a reason, but
It's just not worth it. Just
Yeah.
stick with what you got.
That's how I feel. Yeah.
If you got to sleep in different bedrooms, sleep in different
Yeah.
bedrooms. If you don't talk for a couple of weeks, it's fine.
Yeah, it happens. I'm
Yeah.
happy. Everything's great, Heather. No, but yeah, I do think Heather and I have had this conversation. Like we'd be like,
Well,
we're
just be grave
we're
buddies.
good. Yeah.
Just be grave buddies.
Yeah.
It's fine.
All right, so let's see. The other entertainment news of the week, Bad Bunny. This was big news, and we were right on the top of it because the backlash
were.
had just started happening when we were talking about it, and now
Yes.
it's everywhere on right-wing media.
Yes.
People are furious about Bad Bunny. Who is this guy? No one's ever heard of the most streamed artist in the world.
In the world. I am just, as someone who grew up going to Puerto Rico all the time with my mom, you know, having that Puerto Rican pride, and my grandmother is, you know, also. I am just thrilled for the island, quite frankly.
It'll be a big moment for Puerto Rican culture,
It's
I think,
just,
actually.
It really is. And it's such a rich culture. And not that many people understand that, you know, the culture is sort of a mixture of African, Taino, which is native to Puerto Rico, and also Spanish. And so it's this very rich culture with food and music, and language, and beauty. I cannot wait really to see what he does, because when you do go to his concerts and when you do listen to his music, there is sort of this homage that he, you know, pays to Puerto Rico, including like he'll wear a Puerto Rican shirt that's very common. He'll use, you know, the flag, which we call the bandera, which a lot of people don't know that Puerto Rican flag is so important to Puerto Ricans, because there was a time when we weren't allowed to have it.
Right.
It was banned by the United States, and so even though Puerto Rico is part of the United States, it's there's such pride. I dare you to find a Puerto Rican house that does not have a flag in it. Like, everyone has the bandera, and so I'm sure that that's going to be prominently displayed, and I'm sure he's going to speak and sing in Spanish a lot.
Right.
And I think that that's going to be very, very important for Latinos all over the country and the world.
And everyone says across the board he's an incredible performer. So, like, whether you know his music or not,
Increíble.
I think you're going to enjoy it when it happens.
You are, and he's gorgeous.
He was on The View once, which was very
Yes,
exciting.
he was.
Yes, he was.
I actually just found a picture of us.
Yeah.
That picture that I took.
We got to get him back.
Yeah, we do.
Get him back.
We do.
But that was
Benito.
awesome. All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Okay.
But thank you for joining me today,
Huepa.
Sonny. Tomorrow, I'll be back with Ana
That's what
Navarro.
Puerto Ricans say.
All right.
Huepa. Yeah.
I'll learn it. Ana Navarro will be here, and we will see you then.
All right.